everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is going to be number 4, which is our 4th and final video for Seashore Santa. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put the rest of the seashells on here first, which is going to be your steps 51 through, I believe, about 72. This is going to finish up the bottom, and then the staff and the star on top is going to be the last. I was going to show you how to put the stocking together with a blanket stitch at the end of this video, but I decided it would probably be better in order to have a separate video. That way it wasn't just for one particular stocking, because it's how I put all of my stockings together at the very, very end. So I have all my seashells done. Like I said at the very beginning, I had all of them put together now because the video would have been ridiculously long trying to show you how to put each individual seashell together. So if you'd like to have some tutorial on that, please let me know. I'd be happy to show you how to do one. Or, you know, if you have any questions, if you're doing this kit, please feel free to message me. I would be more than happy to help you or help walk you through on how I did any of my seashells. So at this point, I'm actually just going to be using the diagram that they sent me in order to put the seashells on. You do have your numbers down here as well that you can use in order to put the seashells on. But since I did cut them all out and finish them early, which I always say, don't cut pieces out. If you don't put them on right away, you want to cut one piece out at a time as you use it. Like I said, it really goes back to, it would have just taken so much time to show each individual seashell and then putting it on the stocking. So please follow your instructions. With these, like I said, I am just going to be using the reference video, or I'm sorry, the reference photo that is on the very front of the package. So right now, I'm just basically going to be putting these on. So I will have this sped up a little bit just so I can show that they are attaching. Let me get this fixed a little bit better. There we go. All right. So it doesn't look like these have to go in any particular way since they're not really being covered up by anything else. So I'm going to use the way that I've showed you all before, which is I'm just going to attach them by the sequins, mostly because I really like how it looks when it doesn't show that there's any like stitches around it. You can put stitches in them, around them, however you'd like to tack them on. This is just my way of doing things. Like I said before, please feel free to do it however you feel comfortable. There's no right or wrong way on how to add these. All right, so now that we have this one, I'm just going to go ahead and add the ones here on the bottom to where they go. There's another one up here, which is going to kind of be covered by this staff that I'll add over here. And then after that, I'm going to show you how to do the staff and the star that goes on top of it, where to connect them at, and then we'll be done. So I'm going to go ahead and connect all these, and we will see you in a minute. Okay, so we have attached all the seashells on the bottom. So our bottom is now complete. Oh my goodness. Look at the sparkle. Gorgeous. All right, so let's move this out of the way. We are going to work on his staff now, which will be our very last piece that we need to do any work on. So it's going to look like this, very, very long. I've already added all the beads and sequins to it, or all the beads and pearl beads to it. And what I did is after I started from up here, the top, and the bottom's going to be curved like this. So I added all the beads starting the middle down, and then I actually used the same thread to start the bottom down here. So you're just going to fold it over like this, make a little envelope, and start it on the bottom. So I told you, I told you I had a trick. So in the picture, if you look at it, his staff is like all wiggly, right? Because it's beechwood or whatever. So it's not exactly going to be perfect. So I really wanted to give it some way that I could move it and change the way that it looked without having to sew it down in certain places. And then I also wanted to give it some stability. So this is the trick. Bread ties. I'm not kidding. I think I have 5 here. I think I'll be all right. So I have 5. Doesn't matter what color you use, though I'm not sure if the blue is going to shine through, so I'll have to check that one out. But a lady in my previous Bucilla group, I had a previous stocking that I was working on, and I could not figure out how to get, I think it was like a ski pole or something. I can't remember. I could not figure out how to get it to work because I don't like using Chanel sticks. I think they're too big. And then skewer sticks, you have to cut the point off, and sometimes they rub through the felt. And I just really wasn't happy with how it was looking and turning out. And she was like, oh my gosh, I use bread ties. Changed my life. So I'm going to use bread ties. I'm also going to use a little bit of stuffing to make sure it gets rounded out as well. So I'm going to try and figure out what the best way to do this is. I think it might be actually wrapping the bread tie in the polyfill. Let's try. All right, that's not going to work. So I think I might just have to kind of like put it I think I might have used too much, like very, very lightly put it around the bread tie, and then I'm going to have to stuff it in there like we normally do. So I have it kind of in there like this, and I'm just going to use this to kind of just put it in there as I sew it up. And then I'm going to show you how we will be able to kind of maneuver it how we want it to go. So I think that actually worked pretty well, stuffing it that way. So now I'm kind of at the end of my first bread tie. So I'm just going to take my second one, and I'm just going to pull it and kind of straighten it out a bit. sometimes you get those like little twists in there. So I'm just going to try to undo the twist and get it to lay as flat as possible. And then I'm just going to, like, this is kind of the, right here is where the end of my bread tie is. I'm just going to kind of push it down in there. See how much polyfill I might need. And then I'm just going to kind of wrap it around here. It seems like it worked a lot better when I didn't use too much. And I guess you could kind of just shove more down in there if you wanted it like puffier. And then I'm just going to slide that ending down in there like that and adjust. And then I'm going to do the rest of this and show you what it's going to look like at the very end. So now we have our staff. So what I wanted to show you, it's almost kind of like bent down here. So since we have these bread ties in here, it's going to go down. This is what we can do. Just kind of find where your bread tie, this is where we connected one of them. So we can actually do this. Do you see it now? How we're kind of able to move around it and make it look a little bit more like driftwood. And you can play with it however you want to. The wire inside is not going to break or, you know, get caught on anything weird or anything like that. That's the best part of these, is you can literally kind of put them however you want to, and make it look like a piece of driftwood, and just kind of give it a little bit of character, which I really like. So let's get the star on top of here. Just like this. I put way too much on the top, so let's push it down a little bit more. Now there's two ways that you can do it. You can start sewing around the star and then just stuff it and put it on there. Or some people like to sandwich. So they would take their polyfill. I know it's way too much, but they would do this and then they'd put it on here, do this, and then stuff it as they go around. I'm going to do the first way. I like that way a little bit more. And that way I can just kind of place it on top, just like you'd put a star on top of the Christmas tree. So I also wanted to point out, sometimes your patterns are going to be not so perfect. So especially when you have multiple points like this. So you can kind of see how it's uneven a little bit, like how it's shaped. My advice is to just play around with it, because see, I line up my top line and my bottom lines do not line up. And I know it's kind of an anal thing to do, but normally if you keep kind of playing around with it, you can find the way that it was supposed to go. And see, this is now all the sides are lining up perfect. So I think I kind of want it. Yeah, so it looks like the beads are supposed to be pointing down. The ones that are kind of in the middle with 2, it looks like. Or no, it's not supposed to. The one with 3. Okay. Now it looks like they didn't put the staff end in it, but I'm going to do that instead of just trying to tack it on the bottom. Because that'll help puff up the star a little bit, and then that way it'll kind of hold on to the end instead of kind of just hanging off from it. So I'm going to push this in there. I think my wire might still be too tall. It's not hard to cut them either. Very easy. So if you can't get it to move around like you want to, you can cut it off and it won't hurt your scissors. Shouldn't hurt your scissors. Now there's also another little seashell that goes down underneath this. So I'm going to go ahead and add that on there as well. It looks like it kind of goes down this way. All right. Here's our staff. And we got them all wonky for driftwood. And like I said, you can play around with it as much as you want to. Very easy. So let's get our stocking back out, okay? We have one other seashell that we need to add. So now our base is totally completed. And I'll show you a better look at that when we're done. So now we're going to add his staff, which just follow this straight line, because the 76 is going to be covered up with his fingers, which is our very, 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 very last piece that goes on the stocking. This piece is actually going to be your stocking holder. Isn't that cool? I love it when they put those little embellishments on there. So it looks like it pretty much goes all the way down to the bottom of the stocking. So I'm just going to try and kind of line it up how I kind of want to. It looks like it almost goes to the top in this one. So we'll put it about right there. Now I'm going to put a couple of tiny little stitches in the very bottom. And our very last thing is going to be adding his little lima bean fingers on there to hold that staff down. Normally I would just put them on one side, but it looks like with this staff they're going to kind of like bow up. So I'm just going to put 1 or 2 little stitches down in between his fingers, so it kind of holds that hand into place. This is our last few stitches. So line that hand up with the back of his glove. And then, like I said, I'm just going to tuck his little fingers around there, put one in between one finger, and that'll actually help define the fingers too, and also hold the finger to the staff, his little fingers. Hey guys, guess what? We are finished. Look at. Oop, let's fix his little staff here. Might have to turn a little bit. There we go. He's done. We'll take some more close-up video. I'm so glad that you guys hung in there with me. Here, let's turn this so you can see it. That you guys hung in there with me. This was a huge, huge first tutorial. Lots of little things to do. Lots of tiny little pieces. I promised you the second one is not going to be that way. I think I've already decided which one I'd really like to choose for the second tutorial. Please, if you like this video, like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. You can also check me out on Instagram, which is Bucilla _ babe85. And then you can get me on Pinterest as well, which is Bucilla Babe. All the same name over the same platforms, just drop off the 85 if you're not on Instagram. Other than that, we're going to continue with tricks and tips and tutorials and everything else that I can possibly try and teach you when putting together Bucilla kits and stocking kits, which are also Mary Stockings makes their own line of kits, which they're adorable. So please check them out as well. And if you have any questions or concerns, please let me know. The next video is actually going to be a subscriber request, which is basically just showing the ones that I've done, kind of my setup, how it is that I have it, the kits that I'm getting ready to make, the ones that I've made in the past, pretty much everything that I can possibly have history of making. And I'll be posting that. And then I would also definitely keep an eye out, because I'm going to teach you how to do the blanket stitch on here. And then I'm also going to do a tutorial on how to add this with a liner, because that's going to kind of be the easiest way for you to go. So you are not going to be seeing any stitches weirdly in the front trying to connect these. So again, thank you for watching, and I can't wait to continue, guys, with the next tutorial. Here he is.